President Bola Tinubu has instructed the Nigeria Police Force to safeguard the 23 local governments in Rivers State from intrusion by hoodlums and vandals. In a statement by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the President emphasized the need for the judiciary to resolve all political disputes, including the outcome of this election. Tensions have been high following the local government election held on Saturday. The President has urged the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and other key figures in the state to show restraint and uphold the rule of law. Governor Fubara condemned the burning of council facilities by suspected political thugs as irresponsible and encouraged the people of Rivers to conduct their political activities responsibly. Now, joining us in the studio is lawyer and public affairs analyst Jide Ologun. Good morning.
Thank you.
Also joining us is Nelson Okujimi, the Executive Director of the Center for Social and Economic Rights. Thank you for joining us as well.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. Now, the governor has gone ahead to set up a judicial panel to look into the matter, and he has said that whoever it is would face the music, that he's not allowing this go like other incident that happened in the state when he came on board. And then he says that this is similarly a replication of what happened between 2014 and 2015. And then former governor of the state, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, is now saying that the governor is the orchestrator of what is happening in the state. Where do you place both statements side by side? What is going on in the state?
Well, first and foremost, we must condemn those acts of violence. It's unacceptable in any democratic society. If we disagree, there are civilized means of engagement, and we must implore the stakeholders in Rivers State to cheat their sword and allow the courts do its job, like Mr. President has rightly directed or admonished. Then looking at the statements from the governor and the FCT minister, who is also a stakeholder in Rivers State, it's a fallout of the relationship, that has gone sour between the two of them. So you won't expect them not to trade the blame. And but as that may be, I think it is within the powers of the governor of the state to set up a commission of inquiry to look at the remote and immediate causes of this arsonist attack on the local government. And then one should also use this opportunity to call on the Nigerian police to ensure that they also investigate this matter, because what has happened is a violation of the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the responsibility of the police, is to maintain law and order. And if anybody is found doing otherwise, the police should do the needful. So the statement from the governor that, he's setting up a commission of inquiry is within his powers. Then the FCT minister also alleging that the governor is the instigator. Well, I wouldn't know. Maybe when the commission of inquiry sits and comes up with its finding, they will be able to reveal those behind it. Okay.
Let me come to you now, Jide, on this whole matter. If you look at the papers this morning, it's awash with developments coming out of Rivers State, especially statements coming from the former governor of the state and now the FCT minister, where he's saying, allow rule of law prevail for peace to reign, and the fact that peace will reign only when, and all of it, and then Fubara saying that he also is pointing fingers at some other persons from outside. We do not know who exactly, and we cannot state categorically right here now. And then he went ahead to take a step to institute a panel to look into this whole matter. Look at the issues on the ground and talk to us how the government is going about handling it, as well as the statements also coming in the process of trying to get to the root of the matter. Do you think that they'll be able to achieve this successfully?
Thank you very much. Hopefully. And let me start by commending the President, who has, by virtue of Section 5 of our Constitution, given a directive that the policemen should go and secure those facilities and ensure that peace is restored to the part of Rivers State that has been troubled by this post-election experience. And let me say this. When we start saying we are setting up a panel of inquiries, it's obvious for those who have been monitoring the political issues in Rivers State to know the key players on the battlefields, except we are pretending. And the former president of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, gave a warning towards the elections of the local government, alluding to the 1963-1964 political crisis that we had in the country that eventually somehow escalated to the First Civil War. And these are issues that are still with us. And talking about the judiciary, Justice Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja gave an order that INEC should not release materials to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. Justice Igwe in Rivers State. And he also said in Abuja that the police should not provide security. Justice Igwe gave a contrary decision in Rivers State that the materials should be released. So, but I understand the Chief Justice of the Federation, who also chairs the National Judicial Council, is getting involved in that. We need to stop all this. You see, politics should be a vehicle to establishing good governance. Election took place in the UK on the 4th of July 2024 that even moved the incumbent party away. We didn't read about all this. So, and for me, I hope, like the president has said, and the governor too, that this will not also go under the carpet. In this same Rivers State, when some party members, jumped to another party, you saw what happened. Right. The House of Assembly was attacked, brought down eventually. Why must we continue to destroy infrastructure? The government will be the one claiming they're built with taxpayers' money. Then why should you open your eyes and let some power brokers, so to say, destabilize the society? And if we still claim we don't know them, then we have not migrated from not being able to bring the sponsors of Boko Haram to justice, even though we claimed to know them, about 400 of them, reportedly. So these are issues. And look at Rivers State. It has remained a political hotbed.
Right. In
2013, when APC mobilized to oppose PDP, it started with ACN, CPC, APGA, and ANPP. And eventually, it was Rotimi Amechi, the governor of Rivers State, that spearheaded the G7 against then President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and formed the new PDP that also, a part of them, joined the APC. And we are still there. Rotimi Amechi at a time also, who also claimed to be instrumental to putting Wike in office. Wike rose up against Rotimi Amechi. Now, Wike is saying, I'm instrumental to putting Fubara. Worked very well with him. Fubara and Wike at loggerheads. What is going on? Is it about godfatherism? Is it about political influence? Rivers State, reportedly, is the second richest state in Nigeria.
Right.
So what are the dividends for the citizens? If we know that now it's all about politics, then let the citizens be moved out to one corner. Then let's set up a stage for political gladiators. I'm not happy. So I was asking a question. So who will rebuild the House of Assembly that was brought down because two politicians are fighting? And unfortunately, and I say this respectfully, there are some ignorant followers that will be used as foot soldiers. And I have a message for them. When these political gladiators go receiving their return certificate, they don't go with their thugs. They go with their wives and children. And if any talk has followed them to go and shake the hand of the president or whatever, let that talk come out and say. So because we also as citizens must come to the point where we defend our infrastructures. They are all friends.
Right.
They differ when it comes to power play. When interest brings them together, they come together again. So we have the judiciary now. We have the federal government, the executive power of the president. We have the state authority. And you can see now the ticket that Wike played is what Fubara played. He also in PDP and APC at the same time, holding the two parties. And now, Fubara also has raised a proxy party, APP, to win all the, except for one.
Yes.
You see, so it's for them it's gain. I'm looking forward to a moment when the wealth of the nation will reflect on the majority of the citizens. So, but I task our President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, who has the mandate under Section 5 of the Nigerian Constitution to execute the laws and maintain the Constitution in Nigeria, to please don't let this go away. You know, let's throw political considerations to one side and let's begin to have good governance in Nigeria.
Shouldn't let this go away, how do you mean? Because he has spoken, he has instructed the police to ensure, to restore peace and order into the states and also protect the secretariats of these local governments.
So the peace and order get restored. What about the influencers? We call them opinion leaders in public relations. I was listening to a political gladiator threatening some governors that I will put fire in your state. Openly. So when fire is burning, where do you turn? Let me say this. If you benefit from injustice today, you may be haunted by injustice tomorrow. Let's fix I mentioned it purposely. Election took place in UK.
But let's not also forget that when this whole drama started, that the president called the two political gladiators to his office and there was an agreement reached and they all moved on from there. Isn't that the president's intervention?
Aesop, the wise man, said, after much is said and done, more is said than done. So we've come to a point. Wike also is alluding to it that Fubara is not respecting the rule of law. Let me ask the simple question. Who respects the rule of law amongst the leaders in this country? In fact, there was a time a former president said that he will sidetrack the rule of law for security and national security interests. And my big question then was, what is the hub that makes security to rotate? In the absence of rule of law, forget about security. And that's the point I'm making. So if it's just about go and resolve your matters and they make it a family affair and resolve it, and nobody is brought to justice, we're going nowhere.
I'm wondering what you think the president perhaps should do differently, aside what he has said now, what he had done initially, because he's saying more needs to be done. Invariably, someone has to be brought to justice in this matter.
Well, the truth of the matter is that Governor Fubara, for me, is not conducting himself as the #1 citizen of Rivers State.
How so?
Because I expect him to display maturity in handling this crisis. He should not focus on his so-called ex-wife godfather as if that is the only enemy he has in that state.
Okay.
The power to govern the state has been placed squarely on his shoulder. And if at the end of 4 years, we want to examine the account of stewardship in that state, we will not say, oh, because he was fighting with this, because he was fighting with that. Rather, we will ask him, what did you do with the power entrusted into your care? I think Governor Fubara needs to, be more circumspect with the way he's relating with it, because that office of a governor is both this physical and spiritual leader of that state. So he should be, so he should be ready to accommodate all types of interest.
What exactly is he not doing right? Or what is the display he is displaying at this point that is seemingly immature?
Part of the things the governor has done, if you remember very well, when some members of the House of Assembly allegedly defected, which the court said there was no evidence to show that they defected. You remember what happened? Yeah. The House of Assembly was bombed. the House of Assembly was demolished. The assembly complex was demolished. Then, secondly, you recognize that even in the midst of all this brouhaha, the governor went ahead and presented the budget to a 3-man House of Assembly in violation of the Constitution, because the Constitution says clearly that for the House to sit, to form a quorum, 1/3 of the members must be present. I don't know whether 3 can make up 1/3 of the House of Assembly of Rivers State. Maybe the total number of the legislators in Rivers State is 5.
We have a lawyer here who will clear that later.
So he went ahead and did that. He passed the budget. Then, along the line, people were shouting, Mr. President, intervene, Mr. President, intervene. Mr. President called the 2 major gladiators. And after Mr. President's intervention, when we thought the dust had settled, some person said Mr. President's mouth odor was offensive. They went otherwise, contrary to their agreement reached. And even as at that, we also saw those attempts to unseat the legislators in through means other than what the democratic process required. And you had statements from the governor that is relocating the legislature to become an annex of the executive. Okay. That is unacceptable. Okay. So the trajectory of the governor with the way he has governed the state, he has not shown...
That does make him immature? All of this
yes, it doesn't show somebody who is fit for that office, because you expect that somebody of that occupying that office should display a higher, character than what he has done. Because if you are presenting a budget to 3 out of about 20, I don't know, maybe 26 or so members of the House of Assembly, people are watching. Okay. You are sending a message to them that, look, you people should also be ready to take the laws into their hands.
We'll take this conversation. We'll continue this conversation after the break, because I would really want to know perhaps what he should have done differently to show the level of maturity that is deserving of a governor, and also how he is handling the matters now. We'll have this conversation when we return from the break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were talking about developments coming out of Rivers State, as well as statements coming from the various gladiators that have been embroiled or engrossed in this whole matter, talking about the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, and the governor, and also the people of Rivers State, how this matter is affecting them. We still have our guests in the studio, Jide Ologun, as well as Nelson Ekujumi. And Nelson, you said that the governor should have handled this matter differently.
More maturely.
Yes, I was going to the matter of his maturity at handling this matter. And I'm saying, or the question was, what should he have done differently?
What I'm saying he should have done differently was that those acts, those conduct of his, that runs contrary to the Constitution. You shouldn't have embarked on that journey. Because when as a leader, you have become a role model. Don't also forget that in the course of this whole issue, the governor was seen saying that the House of Assembly exists at its BS. Absolutely not. You and I know that the governor didn't appoint members of the House of Assembly, that they were elected just like the governor. So it tells you clearly that from day one, the governor had this notion within himself that come what may, this is what I'm going to do. Respect begets respect. Some of the persons that you feel are with the other camp that are fighting with you, the way you conduct yourself will send a message to them that are you amenable to be approached, Don't forget the fact that people are in Camp A today. You cannot rule out the fact that if you approach them as a father, that look, my children, this is what is on ground. These are the people doing this. What do we do? And you bring them into confidence. We can see some of them changing camp and becoming your friends. People were formerly your foes. So for me, the governor has not handled this matter the way I expect the father of the state to have, conducted himself.
All right.
That's the fact.
Let me come to Jide now. If he is on the same page with you with regards to the matter of the handling of these matters, especially the matter of he passing the budget to a constituted, a state assembly of 3 persons or 4 persons at the time. And he is saying that all of those steps were unconstitutional, and that shows that he was immature, and the way he's handling this matter is immature.
The former governor of Lagos State, Batunde Rajifashola, son, said at a time that may your loyalty not be tested. In the political arena, the heat can make you behave in a way. And that's why I always put my finger on the system. The issue of presenting budget, the court can interpret on that. I mean, they are very good at going to the court. But let's look at the scenario on the ground. According to this is a governor that came into the midst of those who surrounded him to dance to the tune of a godfather in Abuja. You see, when the issues of the local government, caretakers, the expiration of their time, I was amazed at how a particular local government was threatening the governor. And I asked myself, where is the orderliness? And that's why I have made reference to the Rivers State politics as a hotbed politics. So, in fact, Fubara stated in the course of last week or thereabout that he even knelt down for Wike on this matter. You see, so, but for them, which I have noticed, look at how Wike dealt with Atiku. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm seeing a political battle, not a governance battle. And that's why I'm happy. If they want to go to court, let them go to. Till now, Wike is still telling PDP, you cannot discipline me. I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, I decided not to support Atiku for presidency, but I delivered governor for PDP. In fact, right now, we don't even know where PDP is in Rivers State. Some of the leaders are even, in fact, some of the governors have come to even say, Fubara, you are doing well. So my point is clear. We come to some stages where we don't even understand the purpose of having laws in Nigeria by virtue of implementations. And that's why I'm throwing it back to the president. There are clear issues here. Let's forget about the fact that, okay, election took place in the midst of 2 judgments and things like that. And the fact that some people went to set the local government areas, council offices in about 3 local government areas on fire. Are they ghosts? Can't you arrest them?
That's
and
what
again,
the panel is going to do.
You see, and that's why I'm saying,
collaboration with the police.
By the special grace of God, I'm a chief superintendent of police.
Right.
You see, so when it comes to investigation and arresting, Nigerian police, very powerful with that. But what happens? Because you begin to hear order from above. And this is what we call reinforcement theory in industrial psychology. Oga just mentioned what happened to the House of Assembly. I asked a question, so what will happen? And that went under the carpet. May it not be that someday some citizens will be bold enough to burn down the State House? And that's why I'm saying,
Fubara has said whoever it is will face the full wrath of the law.
When the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation was alleged to embezzle money meant to alleviate poverty, to alleviate her bank accounts and some colleagues, what has come out of it? Suspension. What have we done with it? I have mentioned here in this wonderful studio 400 sponsors of Boko Haram identified in Nigeria.
But
so what happened?
The governor intends to do something differently this time.
You are not rewarded for intention. You are rewarded for performance. And I'm saying it again, like I did during the issue of the House of Assembly and things like that. If you let it go, worse things will happen. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's ordinary election, local government election, we are setting some facilities on fire.
So if he doesn't let this go, like you have mentioned other areas, would that similarly assert him as the governor in charge of
I'm not even, if he likes, let him assert himself. You see, the elders have a saying, if I find a job for you, it's your business to do it. In fact, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu told all Nigerians, please, leave me on this job. You know, I will face it. So that is, I'm talking about national issues now. We should not come to the, and let me speak to the government.
Can set an example.
Look at federal government, for instance. But you could arrest protesters now. This end bad governance. Have you watched the title?
Bad governance.
You could arrest them. Some of them may still be in incarceration. So if you cannot arrest those who have gone to burn down the facility, then others will mobilize in the future. And let me say this, don't spare political gladiators who are trying to pull us on the path of violence. They may be helping you today politically, but they are enemies of the state. And
is that what you think is playing out?
What else is playing out? Go and read the script. By the grace of God, I monitor Nigeria bumper to bumper on a daily basis, sometimes to 2 a.m. It's our country. And let me drop a precedent on this table. Go and look at how UK handled the case of Ekurimadu. Honestly, it's either you have laws that are implemented or you don't have laws. Because if you have laws that are not implemented, definitely, in practice, you don't have laws. And these are my concerns. Because I trace the history. Go back to 2013. Look at how, and let me send these signals to political gladiators. The Rotimi Amechi now, you know, where is the man, politically speaking? So come back to the point of national interest. Go and study Botswana, study Singapore, study Sweden, study Norway, study Switzerland. Let's feel good governance in the land. Okay. I just told us Rivers State is the second richest state in the nation. Right.
Let me come back to Nelson Ekujimi, because obviously it seems like you don't have hope in the outcome of whatever panel is being instituted.
I do, but you see, my hope is subject to the political will that those people, because before you know it now, they call themselves into a room, they hug each other, and yet we have introduced the spirit of violence into society.
The governor has said that whoever is found to be culpable will face the full wrath of the law. Invariably, he's trying to say that things will not go in the way things have been over time. Perhaps that's a way of showing maturity that you have been speaking about.
Yes, I think maybe he's trying to move a step higher. But quickly, let me disagree with Barrister Ologun.
Yeah.
He talked about arresting end bad governance protesters.
Yes.
Those were protesters who sounded a note of warning of violence. So the security agencies were prepared for them. In this case, nobody told us after the election that we are going to burn down any local government secretariat. So they are different ball game. You recognize one of the so-called persons who said they were going to participate in the protest, that they are going to burn police station, army barracks, fuel station, banks, that was arrested in Plateau State. And if you read the statements of the end bad governance hidden organizers, then it was like we'll shut down Nigeria. Right. Nigeria will not. So when somebody says he will shut a country where I live, where I do my business, I earn a living, shut it down, he's sending me a war message. That was why the security agencies went out for them. And they were able to arrest some of them. And don't forget, we must also not run away from the fact that it degenerated into a riot where they were burning public and private properties like they did in 2020 NSAS.
Right.
So talking about Rivers now, the governor has set up a commission of inquiry. But apart from the commission of inquiry that the governor has set up, I personally believe strongly, and I'm using this medium, to call on the commissioner of police in Rivers State to launch an investigation into those arsonist attacks in the local governments, such that even if the commission of inquiry is doing its own, the responsibility of the police must not be jettisoned or must not be suspended because the state government has set up a commission of inquiry.
I believe they are working hand in glove.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I expect that those who are involved in this attack, this burning of this secretariat, must be apprehended and made to face the law. I believe strongly that with the attention that this River State crisis is generating, nobody should be happy with what is going on. And that is why we are saying a message should be sent to people who are aggrieved politically, that look, if you cannot resolve your disagreement within the ambits of the law, then sorry, we cannot help you. But we will not allow you to take the laws into your hand and jeopardize the national interest. It is very clear.
And I believe that statement that the governor is making is also a clear statement to whoever it is he believes is constituting a challenge to...
Because he has the political authority to do that.
Yes.
So we expect that when that committee, that commission comes up with its finding,
they have
that
a month.
Yes, that he also will have the political will to see it through, in conjunction with the police. So we want to give them that benefit of that. We don't want to prejudge whoever is involved.
So you have hope that...
I definitely have hope.
Yes.
I have hope. I have absolute hope.
I absolutely adopt your position. But the point I'm making, sir, is the point of capacity. And there's still an issue we should mention.
Right.
The police we talk about is under the control of the Inspector General of Police. The Commissioner of Police in Rivers State is not answerable to the governor. In fact, there were issues. In fact, when the issue of those who defected happened, the governor himself was even saying the police were harassing him. So, and this also speaks to politicians. When some of us talk about state police, if you like, go for it. If you like, don't go for it. That's why I said, if you benefit from injustice today, injustice may haunt you tomorrow. What system can we have in this country that will make us fulfill the mandate of Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that says clearly that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government? Because Rivers State is a test case now, sir. And my position is clear. The police is under the authority of the federal government.
Yeah.
There is a political gladiator in Abuja. That is what they are saying. And so even when they do their investigation and police say, oh, we have arrested some people. And what about if influence comes in to say, hey, these are my boys? We've seen things in this country. So I am speaking beyond politics, beyond their interest, to say, let us set up a system in this country that will give us good governance. You see, we are discussing this in respect of a nation who has gained political independence since 1960, 64 years. I said it. If Nigeria were to be a civil servant, Nigeria would have retired 4 years ago. Is it into prosperity or into poverty? So these are my points. And the gladiators should realize the country is for all. And they should find, because now, are you now going to tax the leaders to bring money to rebuild those local government secretariats and things like that? How are you now going to enculturate those who now believe there must be talks to politicians? Are we mortgaging the future?
Right.
You see, just like we have done to our crude oil, benchmarking it against loans that will take years to pay. These are my interests. So and you can see now, and I said this in 2019, political party loyalty is collapsing already. Right. It's about personal interest. You see, but please use this, your personal interest, to benefit the people. South Africa gained independence from apartheid, but the culture of violence is still within that society. Those are my concerns. So if in 3 weeks' time we are reading about another issue and not those who went burning down these things, then maybe I will come back to say, I have hope in the system. But you see, hope that is hanging on faith alone without action will lead to frustration. The same way I'm asking, who are the oil thieves? We arrest the badges they used to steal our oil.
Right.
We shut down illegal refineries. But who are these actors? Who are they? The human element. And if you are focusing on the infrastructure and you are not dealing with the superstructure, which is the human element, the superstructure will frustrate the infrastructure. And that's what we are seeing now. You see? So I commend the efforts of the government, particularly what the president did. The police, go out there, secure this thing, And, you know, because it was when the police withdrew, after about 3 months, that these people went in. But our investigation capacity can identify those who went in there to set the state on.
There are videos online.
Exactly. Even if we are claiming that it's because some of the CCTVs don't work, they are just installed. You know, you should, and that is the power of investigation. Let there be action. Let's learn from other countries. Right. When Ekweremadu was being handled by the UK authority, former President Olusegun Obasanjo wrote a letter asking for pardon, and the UK said no. We want our laws to send the signal out so that we can prevent greater crime against this land. All
right. Now Nelson, there are some things he touched on that I would love for you to perhaps react to. The people who were carrying out, you know, this destruction, who are residents of the state, who are supposed to understand.
Who might be residents.
Who might, okay, who might. I agree with you. Who might be residents of the state, who should understand that this structure is in place for certain reasons that should benefit the people of the state, and should also, in fact, there are some who you feel should know better and should caution those who are carrying out all of these things, but you saw them standing and watching people destroy this office of the citizen, really, in a democracy and in situations like this. What can they do to addressing this matter?
I think the issue at hand now is one that calls for collective action. Yeah. You want to ask yourself, where are the political, religious, and traditional leaders in Rivers State? Can they mediate and resolve this crisis? And also the citizens. I think what this has shown us once again is the low level of education and the civic engagement that our citizens have. Because ordinarily, if you have a self-worth in yourself, if you know what it means to put up a property, you won't go to that level of destruction. So it tells you clearly that the culture of violence, the culture of taking laws into our hands is still very prominent among our citizens. That is why when I was about coming into the studio, I was watching your news, or maybe even during the news, where a legislator in the House of Representatives was seeking improved funding for the National Orientation Agency in order to enhance the citizens' engagement. We need it seriously, because if somebody has self-worth, if you tell me to go and burn down, I will ask you, go and do it yourself. Because if the law catches me, I'm gone. And moreover, at my own level, with my words, I must not be seen doing that. So we need to, I think the government needs to improve the investments in the citizenry, improve investment in education, such that people will know what is legal and what is not. Illegal. Because a lot of times, when we allow our citizens to live in ignorance, to live in total being bereaved of civic education, they will not know the responsibilities expected of them. But if we continuously engage them constructively and make them have a reason to live, make them have a reason to believe that, look, whatever position governor or a president is occupying today, it's not because he has 2 heads, or maybe because he has 4 arms. It's because he's a human being like you. So you too can also be there. So I think we need to upscale the citizens' education with regards to moral engagement.
Now, one last question I would like to ask you gentlemen, because our time is almost up, and beginning with you, Nelson, is if you see this whole matter being resolved amicably at the end of the day between these two political gladiators. So there are those who will say that perhaps Fubara was acting in the manner he acted initially because he just wanted peace to reign in the state and he can govern. And then he also seemingly respected perhaps Nyesom Wike as an elder brother, and perhaps that was why he did some things. But then, do you think that these two people will resolve this matter amicably someday?
It is not impossible.
Right.
But even in the midst of all that, the damage that has been done to our national psyche and the destruction to our public properties must not be allowed to go, unaddressed, such that people will learn tomorrow. Because if they resolve this so-called crisis between the two of them. And people have gone to burn down the local government secretariat.
Justice must still prevail.
Yes, somebody has gone to destroy the House of Assembly complex. Definitely, it will just be taking a walk in the park. So we must ensure that punishment is meted out to those involved if we eventually discover them through whatever means. Okay,
Jide, quickly, what should the punishment be? That's one. And then do you see this matter being resolved amicably, that's between the two persons at the end of the day?
The punishments are stated in the law, so if they are prosecuted, why not? And let me say this. The Bible says in John 8:32 that you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Even if I'm speaking to 7 human beings today amongst the talks, the children of these people you are fighting for, they school abroad. They are enjoying top line. Their children will never carry a jerrycan of petrol. So you are out there wasting your life. So if it's only 7 of you I'm speaking to right now, please repent. Go and find, like Oga mentioned, you also can become president. You also can become governors. Right. Stop aiding this violence against the land.
Quickly, you see them resolving this matter?
They are likely to. Right now, Kwankwanso is hobnobbing with Labour Party. So for the politicians, it's about the next election. For statesmen, it's about the next generation. So they will reconcile. I cannot say yes or no, but I know them very well. If interest brings them together tomorrow, they are together. And those who have been victims will remain victims. So on that note, we pray. For the will, and God will
the people to bless are at the heart of whatever decision is being made at the end of the day. All right, gentlemen, we must thank you, lawyer and public affairs analyst Jide Ologun, as well as Nelson Ekujumi, the executive director of the Center for Social and Economic Rights, for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.